and welcome to our today's webinar on sustainable growth and soaring success for franchisors. Thank you all for joining. In a second, you'll see our lovely speakers. I have two great speakers today that are joining me. These are Valerie Kozaev and Ilyas Ayat, who will be joining the discussion. And we're going to discuss best practices and tips on how to grow your franchise successfully and for the long run. Without further ado, I'm going to share my slides, and I will then invite our lovely speakers to join us. I'm here today to talk about a model that I've developed a few years ago that has helped dozens of franchisors around the world achieve success and growth with their franchise and even exceed their own expectations. The model is called the 5 F's of franchise marketing. A little bit of information about myself. I am the founder and CEO of a company called Franchise Fame, and we are a franchise marketing agency that works globally with clients from all over the world, some of who count more than 2,600 locations. I am also a best-selling author. Last month, I published my first book, which is also called Franchise Fame, and within a couple of days of its publishing, it became an Amazon bestseller. I hold a BSc in business and economics and a master's in project management, and I have more than 14 years of experience now in the franchising and marketing sectors. Without further ado, this is my book, Franchise Fame. It talks a lot about my experience in the franchising industry. I myself have led the marketing and branding teams of a global franchisor, and then I moved away and became a franchisee myself. So I've sold the two sides of the coin, and that's how I got the idea to move away, and I founded the agency for franchise marketing, challenging the pain points that I've seen most franchisors experience. My book is available on Amazon and all major book retailers, so if you'd like to grab your copy, please feel free to. So, as I said, Franchise Fame is a global franchise marketing agency. We've got clients in over 53 countries on 5 continents. So all the learning and the methodology that you're going to hear about just now has been built and tested and trialed over the years with different franchisors in different sectors and in different markets as well. And if the model is implemented correctly, it works in 100% of the cases. We are an award-winning team. I'm especially proud to say that this year we snatched the Global Franchise Award for the best PR and marketing agency. And over the years, we've been nominated and won numerous awards as well. I owe this to the great team behind me as well. So what are the 3 major franchise or pain points that most franchisors come across in their franchising journey? First of all, they often feel that their franchise is invisible. Once you've done all the franchising, the paperwork, the legal side of it, writing the franchise operations manuals, the franchisee manuals and all that, you expect to have a huge queue at the end of the day of people that want to invest in your franchise, but very often that's not the case. The expectations versus reality, that picture shows what I mean. The second problem is usually the lack of time, because franchisors often fall in the trap of thinking they can do it all by themselves. They have been successful so far in their business as solo entrepreneurs or just a regular business with a team, but a lot of the times franchisors think that they are the best people to do a task, so they end up having a lot on their plate and not enough time to complete all the tasks. And the third problem is lead generation, and we've all heard about this. It's almost as if lead generation is this mystical thing where you almost need a crystal ball and some spells to actually get the right leads. It's not really that complicated, but a lot of franchisors get frustrated, try different channels, different approaches, burn a lot of cash on it, and are not successful. I've heard that from almost every franchise client that I've worked with over the years. So combined, the result of all of this is the franchisor usually working their hardest, investing the longest of hours, and not making a big difference and not making progress in their business. This can be a very frustrating spot. It can also be a very lonely place. So this is why I've developed the 5 F's of franchising model that actually meets and addresses those pain points and provides a solution for each one of them. This is a summary of the model. The 5 F's of franchise marketing consists of fantastic reputation, franchise network, focused team, full funnel, and finding the right fit. I'm just going to say a couple of sentences for each point, and then I'm going to pass it on to our guests and presenters to talk in a little bit more depth about all of these points. So a fantastic reputation is incredibly important for every business, more so for a franchise, to look after and manage their reputation, because you can't expect to have poor reputation or negative press from a franchisee that exited your business and expect to add more business partners to your network and sell more franchises. It's unrealistic. This is why fantastic reputation is the first point from the 5 F's model. And it's incredibly important that if you don't have a practice in place to put such and right away, and to make sure that you're active, not only about monitoring, but also managing your reputation, whether to encourage franchisees and clients to leave positive reviews for you, or to be on the lookout for any negatives, respond the right way, and so on. Point 2, franchisee network. This is the network of already existing partners that you've got, your franchisees, without whom you can't be successful. You're only successful if your franchisees are successful. So having a process in place to support them throughout their journey, not only when you onboard them, but actually throughout their journey, to make sure that they are successful, they are growing with your business. That means you're also growing yourself. So franchisees have a very important part of the success process, and a franchisor cannot be successful without their network being successful. Point 3 is dedicated to a focused team, and this is the corporate team or the head office team, the team that a very successful franchisor must have around them. You won't be able to do it all by yourself. Maybe with the pilot store and a couple of other franchisees, perhaps yes. But then once your network starts growing, and if you have ambitions to grow your franchise, you would need that support staff and help, whether that's an operations manager, a marketing manager, additional team. Make sure you surround yourself with A players and people who exceed and are knowledgeable in their fields and sectors in order for you to reach success. Point 4 is all about full funnel, because in order for you to grow, you need to have a full funnel of leads of people who would like to buy into your business. And the funnel should be full with high quality, relevant leads of people that actually want to partner with you. So point 4 and chapter 4 in the book talks about how to get that full funnel of leads and generate traction and for the most cost effective and in the most cost effective ways. And lastly, the last point 5 is about finding the right fit, or amongst all these candidates and applicants and prospective franchisees, how do you actually find the ones that are suitable for your business? Because a lot of franchisors think that almost everyone is suitable to buy into their business model, but that's a mistake. You need to find the right fit for your business to guarantee yourself success. So this is my model. If you'd like to learn a little bit more, you can buy my book from Amazon, or you can connect with me on social media and send me a DM so that I can send you the digital copy of the book. Without further ado, I'd like to present our next speaker. This is Ilyas Ayat. He'll be talking about one of the 5 F's in more detail. A little bit about Ilyas. He joined Mailboxes, etc. in 2019. His role is international development of the MBE brand in Africa and Asian markets, as well as the GCC countries. And he is responsible for all the master licensee agreements in that sector. Also, he supports the existing master franchisees globally through ongoing training and support. So Elias, without further ado, please share your slides. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and greetings from Barcelona. Can you hear me well? Very good.
I can hear you perfectly fine.
Perfect. Let me share the presentation. Very good. So normally you should be able to see it. So hello, everyone. First of all, before kicking off the presentation, just wanted to thank Danny for the introduction and also congratulate you for the great achievement. I think this is a super good thing, and the success is all deserved. So congratulations. So before getting into the presentation of the importance of the franchise network, I'll just quickly introduce Mailboxes, etc. So we are a network of international centers which provide different types of solutions, and these centers are owned and managed by entrepreneurs. Okay, the main thing you should keep in mind about these solutions is that they are personalized and flexible depending on the needs of the companies, the businesses we work with. We mainly offer 5 types of solutions in our centers. You can see pack and ship. So for example, if companies needs to ship parcels, documents, spare parts, or whatever, we are able to do it for them, and also to pack properly their items. Then we also offer logistics solutions, which is really a growing service where we've seen an important growth, especially during COVID. Essentially, logistics solutions are outsourced solutions for people and businesses that have an online shop. Okay, so we talk about storing their products at the MB center, preparing the orders, shipping it, managing the returns, etc. And as you can imagine, during COVID, the growth of the e-commerce was quite important. So we also saw this growth in terms of logistics needs. Then we offer domiciliation and mailbox rental services, print, and marketing solutions. So think about the companies that needs to either design their communication materials and also print them. So this is a very vertical, these are 2 vertical services because there are many different options, but keep in mind the design part and the print parts. A bit of history about Mailboxes, etc. So if you don't know the brand, it was initially founded in the US in 1980, and then introduced in Europe, with Italy as the first country, in 1993. Okay, today we have a presence in more than 45 countries. We have a network of more than 1,800 centers, and you can see here the number of business customers, because we essentially work with B2B clients, even though we also serve the B2C ones. But as you can imagine, the B2B clients, they have more recurrent needs, and the solutions we offer are essential business needs. And lastly, you can see the revenue generated at the level of the group last year. So I wanted to give you a quick introduction about our development in the Middle East. We've always considered this region as a region full of potential. Okay, many countries of the region are taking new policies to diversify the economy, to promote franchising, as franchising is a great added value to bring traction and to boost the economy. So we really developed we really launched our development in the region back in 2019. Okay, so we were looking for a master franchisee because this is the way we expand our network. Okay, so we look for a master franchisee. This master franchisee will be the exclusive representative of MB in his country, and his goal will be to introduce the brand and then develop it within his territory. Okay, so lastly, as you can see, in 2021, we signed a master franchise agreement with a successful entrepreneur which covers in total 7 countries of the Middle East. So Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, Oman, and Jordan. And the good thing is that the master franchisee has a really ambitious plan. Okay, they will open first in the UAE as a way to kick off the project. They will open 2 centers, one in Shams, Sharjah Media City, and the other one in Dubai. And over time, they will develop and expand into the other countries of the region. But it's really good at the end that they have good plans of development fueled by ambition and by a great vision. And I think this is a good transition to the point Danny was mentioning before, which is the importance of the franchise network. Because if I will have to summarize the franchise ecosystem and the different relationships between the parties involved, I will say that it's a mutual effort which ends to a mutual benefit at the end. So, of course, it's really important to have good franchisees because the implications are quite numerous, okay? And if managed positively, it can have a great impact, but on the other side, if it's a negative impact, it can strongly affect the business. Keep in mind that the franchise agreement, they have a duration which varies between 5 to 10 years. So it can be 5, 7, or 10 years. So at the end, if you have bad franchisees, they will affect in a bad way the brand, the company itself for a long term. Okay, here you can see the impacts, among others. First of all, the brand reputation. In our case, as I told you, we develop our network from master franchise agreement. So if we have a bad master franchise in his country, it will affect in a really bad way the reputation of MB. And in our case, we're talking about a country, not a single unit, which is one store, but a whole country. So it can affect the development of our network into the country. It can affect the development of our network into new countries. So at the end, it's something to be really managed properly. Then it affects also the revenue of the franchisor. As you know, the franchisor perceives royalties and other fees from the franchisee or the master franchisee. And if this master franchisee is bad and doesn't reach the goals in terms of turnover or development of the network, of course, it will affect the revenue of the franchisor, the headquarter. The network and the franchise development, because when you're dealing with candidates interested into opening their own location or acquiring the master franchise, the thing they will vet and they will really analyze are your business cases, which means the other franchisees of the network, the other franchisees in the other countries. And essentially, if they see that their development is super bad, the management is not good, there are bad articles available online or whatever, they will be much less likely to sign a contract with you and join your network. So we can say to sum up that it affects the franchise sustainability in the long run. Now, you might think what's needed to have a successful franchise network. Well, it depends on many different factors, but if I had to summarize the most important points, I would say that first of all, a big part of it happens even before the signature of the contract, okay, which is linked to the qualification process. So the qualification process is the process you will follow with a candidate interested into opening his own MB center or becoming a master franchisee. And essentially, it's a way for you to really determine if the guy or the lady is the right person to develop your brand into his country. Some franchisors might think in terms of quantity, might be really in a hurry to sign with the first candidate, but this is not the right approach, because as I was saying before, the agreements are quite long. So at the end, you might be really in a hurry to sign a contract with the first candidate that comes, But on the flip side, you will have to deal with him or her during 5, 7, or 10 years. So really, the qualification process is really important, and Valerie will give you more details about it. So I won't spoil you, but it's mainly about determining if the profile of the candidate is the proper one. So you analyze the background, the skills, the motivation, the vision, the ambition. Then we have the know-how, which is very important. I think this is the most valuable thing a franchisee can get from a franchisor. Okay, it's not only valid for MBE, it's valid for all the franchisors of the ecosystem, and it is a key factor to boost the development of the franchisee or master franchisee, and to make it less risky. Okay, so when we say know-how, we mean all the operational manuals, we mean all the marketing and promotional materials, the best practices, and so on and so on. And this know-how is transferred during the initial and ongoing training. Okay, the initial training in our case is 4 weeks, and the ongoing training is during the whole duration of the agreement. And of course, lastly, we always strive to be better on a daily basis with our master franchisees. So there is this phase of continuous improvement, because we always learn at the end. This continuous improvement is only made possible if you define a structure to keep track of the development of your franchisees. There is a quote from Peter Drucker, which I really like, which says, if you can't measure it, you cannot improve it. And it's 100% true. So here, there are two main goals. The first one is to define goals. Okay, there are different goals that you can define. In our case, with the master franchisees, for example, when we build the business plan, even before signing the contract, but we define a development schedule, which means that we define the number of openings during the 10 years of the master franchise agreement. So this is a goal, for example. There are also some financials or sales goals, okay, which you should establish with the franchisee, really to define the turnover they should achieve in 2022, in 2023, and so on, with a growth, of course. And so yeah, one thing is to define the goals. The other thing is to define the KPIs, because the KPIs is really the scale that allows you to determine if the goal, if the target is achieved or not. Okay, so I was mentioning just before the development schedule, the number of openings, which is something we can consider as a goal. To achieve, for example, 5 openings in 2022, there are many different things you should do. So there are different steps that the master franchisee should take. So for example, the number of meetings with the valid candidates, the number of prospection actions, and so on and so on. This is the same for the financial KPIs, the financial goals. So if for this year we plan to reach X euros as a goal, we need to do many different types of things to get, I don't know, 20 customers. To get these 20 customers, we need to do 10 sales meetings. To get the 10 sales meetings, we need to do cold calling, door-to-door visits, and so on and so on. So keep in mind that at the end, we have these goals, which are complemented by the sub-goals. And all of this, you can measure it with the KPIs, which are crucial. And it's part at the end of the strategy, the strategic aspects of the business, not only in franchising, but for every business. So I wanted to give you an illustration to conclude and close my presentation, essentially by showing you the different types of activities we organize with our master franchisees in order to achieve this continuous improvement and to have successful franchisees. So this is, for example, the initial training that we organize, which lasts, as I was saying before, 4 weeks, and during which we share a lot of know-how. As soon as the master franchisee opens his first store, so the pilot store, we go in his country, we spend 1 week with them, and we really try to analyze the way they are doing things to see if at the end they understood properly the content, the know-how from the initial training, and really to give them recommendations. So to identify areas of improvement for them, to become better. We also have the regional meetings. So essentially, these are meetings we organize several times in the year. We gather with different master licensees from a specific region, and during 2 to 3 days, we share a lot of know-how. And it's also the occasion for us to track the KPIs, the goals, and to see how things are going. And finally, we also have the convention. I did not tell you this at the beginning, but Mailboxes, etc. is part of a group called MB Worldwide, composed of different brands. So you have Mailboxes, etc. You have Postnet, Alpha Graphic, PrestaShop, and other entities that we acquire. And every 2 years, we organize a convention. We gather all the people from the different brands, and we pull the know-how, we pull the knowledge during a few days. So it's a great occasion to again becoming better and improving the quality of the network in general. This is it from my side. I just quoted Dani Peleva because I really like this quote from her book, which says, ultimately, the success of your franchise, of your franchisee, is your success, and vice versa. So, as I could explain you during the presentation, this is 100% true. As a last point, I leave you my contact details because, as I told you at the beginning, now we have a master franchisee for the 7 countries of the Gulf region. Of course, he will have to develop these countries. So he will either look for area franchisees or individual franchisees. So in case you are in one of these countries and interested to get more information, you can reach me. I will assist you with pleasure. And one other thing, we also have countries in North Africa which are still available, such as Tunisia, for example, because we have presence in Egypt, soon in another country of the region. But Tunisia, I think, is a country with great potential and interesting. So in case you're interested, don't hesitate to get in touch with me. So I'm done from my part.
Thank you, Elias. The presentation has been very informative and useful, and thank you for reinforcing the message of actually having how important it is to have a successful franchisee network in order for the overall success of the franchisor. Valerie, you raised your hand. Did you want to ask anything?
Yeah, I have a quite interesting question actually for Elias. Elias, thank you for the interesting slides that you showed today. I'm from one franchise expert to another, and because we're talking about franchise marketing in particular, I'm quite interested to know what was the channel that the lead for the 7 countries actually came through. Was it organically? Was it through a business directory? Was it through an
and
email?
this is a very good question. This is a very good question, Valerie.
Because I want to use that channel as well.
Yeah. You know, I think the Middle East is an area where everything is relationship driven. Okay, so you know somebody that can introduce to somebody that can introduce to somebody else, and this is how you build business relationships. So this is what happened to us. We signed first a contract for Egypt, okay, with a master franchisee, and this master franchisee from Egypt introduced us to this guy who was interested in the different countries. So this is the biggest thing I figured out doing the research in this area, is that you really need to know people in order to do business.
Yeah, I agree. Great. Okay,
thank you, guys.
Recommendation is really powerful when it comes to franchise recruitment. And a second question, if you don't mind, because it was really interesting for me to kind of find out more about the company. is the gentleman with the 7 licenses the largest license holder in
No. This is also something we try to develop. So essentially, we know that in the Middle East there are many holdings which are big franchise operators. They have more than 50, 60, 70 brands in their brand portfolio. But at the end, it was not the case for us. But I assume this is a good option to evaluate.
Great, thank you, Danny.
No
Sorry about
worries.
that.
So thank you, Elias. Elias reinforced my message about the third point in my book, the successful franchise network, and how important this is for the success of a franchisor. And our next presenter and speaker, Valerie, is going to talk about finding the right fit, number 5 of the 5 Fs, and how important this is to set yourself for success once you prepare and you know who you're looking for. Just a little bit of background information and bio for Valerie. He's been in sales, in corporate sales for 8 years now. He joined Fantastic Services 3 years ago, and he's the VP of Development of President of Expansion and Vice President of Expansion. He's also been the CMO of a company called Devalando, which is a SaaS company, and he's participated in global worldwide franchise exhibitions. So without further ado, I present to you Valerie Kozarov from Fantastic Services.
Woo, thank you very much for the warm welcoming, Danny. It's been a great pleasure to be here today. And before I actually start, the first thing that I want to say is to express a gratitude towards the organizers of today's event. I know how difficult it is to navigate and to organize such conferences and to give such massive value to the audiences. So hats down to you guys. You've done a tremendous job. You know, I've really enjoyed the interactions with the organizers. Great. Okay. So my bread and butter, finding the fit. Do you mind if I share the screen, Danny, right now?
No, please go ahead.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay. Great, because I know I've put some great pictures on my presentation. I'd like to kind of show them off. So the bread and butter about the things that I do, and the reason why I'm doing it is because I'm really enjoying finding the fit for Fantastic Service. And I've helped more than 20 people actually launch and start a franchise within the Fantastic Services organization. And the most interesting part for me is, number one, finding different people, finding multiple people, finding interesting people, you know, finding out the reasons why they actually engage in the first place with a franchise company. What are the reasons to actually, you know, want to improve their situation, their circumstances surrounding their current life. And I've met amazing people, not only in the UK, but all across the world, because Fantastic Services is operating on 3 continents, right? We also have master franchisees in Ireland, in Hungary, in Bulgaria, in Australia, and so on and so forth. And we have more than 35 area development franchisees who are operating under the actual country master, right? Besides that, Fantastic Services has seen tremendous success in finding out the owner operators, the ones that we call them, the actual service providers, because Fantastic Services at the end of the day specializes in service provision for the home and office, in particular cleaning and maintenance services. This is what we've been doing for the past 13 years. We have the technology, we have the know-how, we have the infrastructure, everything's in place, all the business tools to make us successful. And as we can see, we've been pretty much successful across the globe. Great, enough about us. I'm here to build value, not to kind of boast about who Fantastic Services is. This was just an informative slide. Now, down to the actual key points of today's presentation. And number one is you need to kiss a lot of frogs to find your prince. And I know this may sound like funny, but I'll get into point in a second. The second point that I've, you know, kind of learned from my experience in the past 3 years that I've been doing this is you need to kind of spot the red flags. And I'll tell you how I actually am spotting the red flags from the different candidates. Number 3 would be candidates that fit and what gives them away, right? What are the green flags actually how does a good candidate look like? And number 4 is my secret sauce, is that the task reward system that I'm using in my franchise recruitment process and why it's important and how does it help you in your recruitment process. Now, I've spoken with multiple franchise consultants, and all of them are saying, you know, the message, you need to kiss a lot of frogs in order for you to find your prince. And what does that mean? Well, you need to speak with a lot of people before you actually find a person that you can trust with your brand for that particular region, right? You need, and there isn't, you know, it's not a coincidence then the percentages that you're seeing on the screen, 1% versus 99%, because on average, the conversion rates for a franchise company is just 1% of the generated leads are actually converting into actual franchisees, and we kind of sign them up on license. And there's a particular reason for that, right? Yes, you could be you know, using different strategies and different sales tactics and negotiation tactics and so on and so forth. You maybe push it to 3%, maybe, you know, but on average for the entire world is 1%. And it's not the franchisor's fault. Everything is in the hands of the actual candidates that are coming across to you, right? The 99%, as I like to call them, you know, from my time when I was working in the US, those are the tire kickers. Those are the guys that are just coming, that's interested, you know, both parts, you know, both categories are starting from the same emotional place. I need to change, right? I need to change my circumstances. I need to change my position. I need to change my, you know, life somehow. I need to do something. But the difference is down the line, down the franchise recruitment process, down the researching process, the 99%, they just say, yeah, but that industry is not good enough. The model is not good enough. I don't have enough money. I'm not the right age. I'm not this. I don't have enough connections. I don't believe in myself. I don't have the right skill set and so on and so forth. So they're saying all the things to kind of disqualify the actual company, while the 1% kind of keep holding and keep following the instructions and keep on, you know, following their gut, and they say, yes, it may be difficult, but you know, I'm going to put the 100% from me to make it work. I really want to make it work, right? And how do you spot the 1% people qualification between the 99%, right? How do you find the 1%? Well, number one is you need to be looking for the red flags, first of all. And some of the red flags that I'm kind of observing during the interviewing process is, number one, that's disrespectful behavior, right? If a candidate shows up because for the past couple of years, obviously due to known circumstances, you know, the whole world is on Zoom, right? Video calls all over the place, right? I'm kind of more of a people person. I like, you know, meeting people face to face, but because of the circumstances, that was impossible. And yeah, video calls. So if a candidate shows up to me and he's from his vehicle, well, that kind of sends me a message that this guy does not want to pay the proper time and the proper attention towards everything that I want to tell him, right? On that particular interview. If he's distracted, if he's on public spaces and so on. So I'm not talking about public cafes, right? Because that's something different. But if he's on the move, he's doing something, you know, in particular, he's doing that interview in the meantime, well, that's a red flag for me. He doesn't kind of take it serious, even though he may say, yeah, this is super serious for me, but I'm not looking for what he's saying. I'm looking for the behavior, right? The second point is the dishonest answers that they're giving me about the reasons that they're on that phone call. And I want to know that reason, right? Because at the end of the day, I kind of value my time and I want to be spending my time with people who actually want to get productive, right? Number three is unrealistic expectations about the potential growth, the profitability, the return of investment, and so on and so forth. The unrealistic expectations are coming from two things. Number one, they've spoken with the wrong people. Number two, they haven't done any research on us or any franchising companies or any franchise models in the first place. Again, that's a red flag. You don't come to a meeting unless you've done some homework. You know, what are you doing on that meeting, right? And that's the next point. No research done prior to the meeting. If you don't know who fantastic service it is or what kind of services are we providing then you're wasting my time. You're wasting your time as well. And this is, again, a major red flag. And this is communicating to me that I can't trust you because you don't value your time as well. Right? Now, the next point is refusing to complete any tasks given. Right? And this is part of the franchise recruitment process that we've introduced, is to give them small tasks just to kind of see whether or not they can follow instructions. Because at the end of the day, a franchise company is following instructions, right? We'll give you specific steps. And you as a candidate, as a master franchisee, an area development franchisee, or an owner operator franchisee, you need to follow specific instructions. There are specific processes in place, right? And if they refuse and they're saying, for example, if I give them, okay, you should be making like a small research on the area that you potentially would like to, invest in. And if they come back to me and they say, yeah, but isn't this actually your job to make the research? And I'm going to be like, yeah, but is it going to be our business to be running? At the end of the day, are we going to take the profits from the business, or are you going to be taking the profits of the business? And then they go silent, crickets. So this is, again, a major red flag. If you don't want to make a research or do a research for the business that you're going to be investing in, then what am I going to be expecting from you? If that's the behavior that you're showing me at this point, how can I trust you, and how can I put you through our system, and how can I put you through our network? All right. Now, what about the candidates that fit? Actually, those are much more rare than the ones that don't actually fit. But sometimes people who don't fit are actual wolves in sheep's skin. Right? So they kind of may give the right signals. They may, demonstrate the ability that they are the right fit, but at the end of the day, they can disqualify themselves based on the franchise recruitment system that I'm going to kind of introduce to you in the next slides. But number one is eager to complete tasks. They're saying, yeah, I'm totally down with you. I want to follow, I want to learn, I need your guidance. I don't know what to do. Give me specific points for me to follow in order for me to be able to complete a task. I've had candidates who've actually sent their completed task on the same very day that we conducted the first interview. And this is, a major green light that is showing to me, right? Asking meaningful questions. And those type of candidates are, and by meaningful questions, I don't mean, okay, what's the profitability on the on the model, but actually, what kind of candidates is Fantastic Services looking to attract? That's a meaningful question, right? How do I know if I fit the criteria for the great candidate that Fantastic Services is looking to attract, right? That's a great question. How do I know if I'm winning? That's a great question. How do I know if my business is doing great? That's another great question, right? Those are all productive questions. Those are all how to, and those are all focused on productivity. Those are the meaningful questions that are kind of bringing, green flags in my mind when I'm speaking with candidates that are asking me. Point number 3 is these guys are doing the due diligence, even without you having to tell them, right? They're coming prepared. They know who the company is. They know what we're doing. They know where we are. They know the business model somehow. They've read our blog, for example. They've read your blog, for example, if you're also a franchisor looking at this presentation. And, they're giving signals that they've invested their own time into exploring, into, doing their homework of who you actually are. What are you doing, right? Are you working with domestic clients? Are you working with commercial clients, corporate clients? What is your model, right? They're coming prepared. And number 4 is they're getting ready mentally and emotionally for the road ahead. Because a lot of people are coming with the wrong expectation. They're thinking, okay, I'm buying a franchise and the franchise company is going to do all the work for me. Well, no, it's not going to happen that way. And they fail miserably, right? They land flat on their faces. And I've seen that, it's a pity. Starting a franchise does not mean that it's going to be easy. It means that you're going to be having a guide, somebody to guide you, somebody next to you, somebody to give you support, somebody to kind of give you and have all these hard questions, all these hard conversations that you're not going to be having if you're, a solopreneur. Let's just call it like that, right? But it's still, you need to be putting all the work. You need to be doing following all these instructions that the franchise company is going to, provide you with during the onboarding process. Now, another thing that we as franchisors is we need to kind of dig deeper into our candidates and find their emotional why, right? Why are they on that meeting today with us? Why are they want to, why do they want to put all the time into exploring that opportunity with us, right? Their emotional why, all people are buying based on emotion. However, they're looking for the logical part to justify their emotion, right? Because at the end of the day, they're going to have difficult conversations with their spouse, and their spouse are going to ask them, okay, give me the reasons why you want to do that, or why you want to go ahead with that company. What makes it so good? What makes it so great? I know you have the vision, right? Just give me the logic right now. Convince me why this company is the right one for you. Or maybe you have a business partner, or maybe you need to convince investors. And all these investors are going to be looking for the justification, the logic, right? Dig deeper behind there. I want to start a business. Okay, what makes you want to start that business? What makes you excited about the business? That's the emotion, right? How important it is for you to make it happen. That's the emotion, right? How urgent it is for you to make it to start. Is it going to be in the next 3 months? Is it going to be the next 1 month? Right? Is it going to be in the next 3 to 5 years? Again, emotion, we're looking. And then back it up with logic. So at the end of the day, we as franchisors, make the mistake that we sell the logic. Big brand, customers, easy to follow system, that's the logic. But what's the emotion? And you need to find the emotion in front of the candidate, right? In the candidate in front of you. Task reward system, and that's the task reward system that I've also kind of implemented into our franchise recruitment process, right? And a lot of people are thinking it's sales. Well, I don't think it's actual sales, it's recruitment, right? If it's a sales, then you're not setting up people to success, right? But when you recruit, that's a different route. Recruitment means disqualification of certain candidates. Sales means you're selling to everyone, right? And we've kind of implemented that system in order for us to kind of take away the subjectiveness of the franchise recruiter, right? Because many times the franchise recruiter is convinced that we found the fit based on just one interview. Great, he's a great guy. He told me all the right answers. He gave me all the right, he gave me the right attitude. He was, showing respect. He came prepared, and then we never heard of him again, right? So one task reward system is meeting one, we engage into conversation, we give some sort of information, and we tell them, in order for you to have access to the information that we provide on the next meeting, here's a small task for you to complete. Should you complete it, send it over, and we'll schedule the second call where I'm gonna give you more of the things that you're interested in, right? I'm gonna feed you more of the information that you're needing to find and to make your research, right? And now, if the candidate is great, this is a kind of test for him if he can follow instructions. Because at the end of the day, you're looking for people who can follow instructions, right? That's what we as franchisors are looking for. The greatest candidates follow instructions, right? And then meeting two, we give them the reward is the information that they're looking for in order for them to make their due diligence. And again, a small task at the end of the second meeting, which kind of leads to meeting three, and so on and so forth. So I understand it's kind of oversimplified, right? But I hope you get the point, what I mean by saying that that's the task reward system. So yeah, I can talk with hours and hours and hours about that topic. I believe I've hit my time already. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoyed my experience. This was my personal experience for hundreds and hundreds of different interviews for international or local or area development franchisees that I've had. I'm really passionate about that that topic. Fantastic Services is also negotiating for a couple candidates for the Middle Eastern market in Saudi Arabia and Dubai in particular. So I'm also open-minded for the rest of the Middle Eastern countries to kind of speak with. We also have our office in Egypt, right? We have a call center, we have people there, situated, and so on and so forth. So we're ready for business, guys. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Valerie. Your presentation was great. I love the part about the emotional side of things. and what is the emotion of the candidates as well, because very often it's all about logic and business and being crude, but what is the actual emotional driver, which is for the long run, is very important. So we've got a few questions from the audience, guys. Again, thank you for the brilliant presentations, both very informative. Some of the questions are open to both of you. So I would first ask Elias, and then Valerie, you can answer too. So someone from our viewers asked how many franchisees you've got. I'm not sure if as to they mean masters or they actually mean franchisees. So maybe you can answer both.
So as I was saying during the presentation, we have a presence in more than 45 countries. Some of them are direct countries, some others are countries managed by master licensees. I would say the 90% is of the 45 countries are master licensees. And for the franchise volume of our network, I would say something around 1,700, more or less.
Thank you. And Valerie?
Those are all great numbers. So Fantastic Services currently have 3 masters at the moment. We have 1 master deposited for Nigeria. We're looking forward to kind of onboarding this or next month. So we're going to grow with another master. I'm currently negotiating with Georgia and with Saudi Arabia. So 2 new potential masters for us to kind of join in this particular year. In regards to the area development franchisees, the number currently is 35. And the owner-operator franchisees is more than 530 across the globe.
Okay, so both have very well-developed networks of franchisees and masters accounting. Okay, the next question is for Elias. What is the minimum outlet size? So I'm suppose they mean the minimum center or shop size. Is there a minimum? Do you have requirements?
Yeah, in order to limit the fixed cost, because the first goal of our master licensees is to reach the break-even point within the first year. Okay, so one of the ways to do it faster is to limit the fixed cost that you have at the beginning. So we won't aim at having a huge location as of the pilot store. Generally, the size of it is between 70 to 90 square meters. Of course, you have some exceptions. So if I take the examples of Brussels, they have a store of more than 300 square meters. But again, the average is somewhere between 70, 90, 100 square meters.
Okay.
And one other thing which I can add on top of this is that we are not located in the hyper city center of the city. Okay, because at the end, our core clientele are B2B clients. Okay, so it's not like if you have a retail shop with 100% B2C clients and you have to be in the main street of the city. So for example, in Paris, l'Avenue des Champs-Élysées, it's not like this. So we can be in industrial areas. What we look for is really the proximity with businesses, the economical activity.
Okay, great, thank you. Val, a question for you. How long does it take to realize investment or basically break even with masters?
Yeah, the break-even point is between 6 and 12 months time. So this is a pretty much that what we've seen with on average numbers with our own master franchisees. For an area development franchise, that's much faster, between the 6 and 8 months. So the full return of investment is not longer than 24 months. This is what we've seen based on our experience.
And Elias, how about yourself?
As I was saying, the goal is to break even within the first year. Then, as always, you have some master franchisees that do it before. So again, to take the example of Belgium, they did it in the 3rd month, in the middle of COVID. But yes, to be conservative, we say 1 year. It can be a bit longer depending on many factors: the economical situation, the sanitary conditions, many different factors.
And we don't know how motivated the franchisees are going to be.
Of course.
To actually wanting to succeed, because we've seen that pretty much the motivate with us, that based on my observations, pretty much the more motivated franchisees, they don't care about the circumstances surrounding the economy and surrounding the you know, outside factors. You know, they just, you know, nail it and just, you know, go out there and take the business. They don't take no for an answer. So.
And that's the spirit we'd like to see. A question to both of you, gentlemen. I think you've generated some interest about the franchising opportunities. What are the ongoing fees? How do your royalties and marketing fees work? So let's take it one by one. Valerie, do you want to answer that first, and then Elias?
Yeah, depending on which business model that we're talking about, but if we're talking about the master license, we're talking about a flat fee of 8% from the country management, from the country branch, right? And that 8% is kind of split between 7+1, 7 being the actual management fee, and 1% is the global marketing campaigns fee that we're actually generating. And on a separate note, the actual master licensees need to kind of invest on a local or country marketing campaigns and so on and so forth down the line.
Of course, marketing is so important after that to make sure that you build that network once you buy the territory. Elias, what about you?
So as Valerie said, I think it depends on which type of business opportunity we are talking about. For the master franchise, it depends on the country we are targeting, because each country has a specific potential. So of course, the value of the territory cannot be the same between a country like Malta and a country like France, for example. So there is this part which is linked to the potential of the country. Generally, what we do, Dani, is that we ask the candidates to sign an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement, and then we show them all the financial aspects, which means the initial investment, the cost structure, and the revenue stream. So this is for the master franchise part. Then for the individual franchise opportunities or area franchise, it depends on the master licensee, because the master franchisee is the one who sets the entry fee, the training fee, and all the royalties. So I mean, in case somebody is interested for the Middle East area, they can always contact me, and I will connect them to the master licensee to discuss it more in depth.
Thank you. And one last question, because we're limited by time. The question from another viewer is, do you have the same franchisee selection criteria for single site franchisee versus master or area franchisee?
Question to me?
For both of you, actually.
Okay, so very quickly, I think the master franchisees has more implications because we are talking about a countrywide business opportunity. So of course, you should take more validation steps. So in our case, for example, they meet an existing master franchisee. This master franchisee, because in the past he was in the same situation as this candidate, he can give us a feedback on the candidate. They also meet our board of directors. They have to present their market research, their business plan. And as Valerie said, I think the tasks system that you put in place is super important, really, to evaluate first the quality, but also the interest of the candidate. But in any case, even for a single unit franchise opportunity, I think there are some musts. Okay, so some must-have tasks, such as a business plan, first of all, not only in franchising, in all the entrepreneurial opportunities.
Thank you, Elias. Val, do you want to add anything to the answer?
Yeah, I believe those are two different profiles when we're talking about a master and a franchisee that is going to be working beneath the master, or within the network of the master franchise, because the master at the very beginning is the one who's establishing the brand in the country, right? So yeah, the franchise company is going to give you all the systems, is going to give you the structure, is going to give you the software infrastructure and so on and so forth, but it's going to be up to the master to actually adapt it to the legal and economic legislation for that particular country. And we're not talking about only in the Middle East. We're talking about the entire globe. It's different culture, different business, different, everything is different than the countries that we're currently operating in, UK, Australia, Ireland, and so on and so forth. So he needs to be a little bit more comfortable taking risks, because it's riskier to kind of take a master license rather than taking a license beneath the master licensee. So that profile needs to be a little bit more, comfortable with the risk, right? The people that are going to be recruited below the actual master, everything's going to be set up for them, right? Those are the guys who actually don't like the risk that much, right? And they are a little bit more different breed, a different profile than the actual master licensee. So yeah, I believe there's a bit of a difference between.
Absolutely. The short answer of this question is no. Those are two different profiles and different criteria are applied. Gentlemen, it's been a real pleasure to talk to you today. Thank you very much for your time. Unfortunately, we don't have much time, so I'd like to thank to all the viewers that took part in the webinar. Please save the next date on your calendar, because there's another webinar that's very interesting coming up, and that's on indoor entertainment franchises in the GCC region. Thank you, Val. Thank you, Elias. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, the Franchise Talk.
Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.